Welcome to another episode of Unscripted with Marilyn Morales. Today's episode is extremely special. Why? Because the person who I have today is the person who inspired me to write the book that I wrote, to start the nonprofit. She actually, what she did was motivate me to do the things that I had wanted to do all along. And I had never had had that thing to just move it forward, right? So it was about a year ago, last January, when my daughter, and all of you know this at this point, works for Be the Match. Gabrielle Morales is my daughter. She works for Be the Match. And she had come home one day, and I noticed that she was a little off. And I asked her what was wrong. So she started to share a story with me about two families that she was helping to find their matches within the Be the Match registry. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is a stem cell bone marrow registry that matches searching patients that need a bone marrow stem cell transplant. We use stem cell now, not bone marrow anymore. So we're talking about stem cells and that need that transplant in order to save their lives or treat their blood disorder, treat their disease process. So she was helping these two families, and in this particular case, one had a disorder that the mom will be talking about soon, and the other two little girls had cancer, the same cancer that my daughter had, which was a rare leukemia called JMML. Well, she was hosting drives for both of these families, and the amount of people that showed up for the two twins that had the leukemia were in the thousands. And we're talking about people that showed up in person, people that joined online, that saw their story on the news and decided that they wanted to do something and help. So there were a lot of people that showed up for these two little girls. And so then there was a drive for Veronica, the little girl that I talk about all the time. And not as many people showed up for that drive. And that mother expressed to my daughter a concern that why weren't people showing up for her the way they were showing up for these others? And when Gabby shared that story with me, it broke my heart. And I said, I know how that feels. I know how that feels. And I don't want any other mother, father, brother, sister to ever feel as powerless as I felt when we were going through the same challenge. And I told Gabby at that time, I'm going to do something different so that we can have a different outcome. Well, so many people have heard that story, but I've never had the opportunity to interview the mother of Veronica, that little girl. And she is here today with me. So let's welcome Veronica Depauli to the show. Hello. Oh, Veronica's your daughter. You are Elise Depauli.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining me on the show today. We recently had a drive together. You were having a drive in West Orange, right? New Jersey. And I joined you with that drive. So we're recently together. And that's when I finally got you to say yes to coming on to the show so that we could share with my viewers your story from your perspective. So share with my viewers a little bit about your daughter, Veronica, how old she was when she was diagnosed, and why you are searching for a donor.
Veronica, it was kind of a little strange how she got diagnosed. So when she was 4, she used to have a lot of pain in her knees and just in her bones in general. And I remember being concerned because she used to complain a lot. And I used to take her to the pediatrician. And he said, oh, well, she's still at that age where she's growing. It'd be kind of growing pains and kind of put it to side. However, when Veronica was about like 4.5, close to 5, she's an asthmatic. So she was not getting better with her regular asthma medication. And so we were concerned. We took her to the ER. They took an x-ray just to rule out that she didn't have pneumonia. And when they came back, he said, I have good and bad news. He's like, the good news is your daughter doesn't have pneumonia. He goes, the bad news is the radiologist is extremely concerned because your daughter has dense bones for someone her age, extremely dense bones. And he goes, because of that, we want you to go see an endocrinologist. So for that span of time, maybe from Veronica was like 5 to 6, we saw an endocrinologist here near us in West Orange. She did a series of blood tests. She also took like 2 x-rays of her wrists and also of her knees because that's mainly what she complained about. And after a year of working with her, she couldn't pinpoint what it was that was causing this. So she
Right.
said, as a doctor, she could just say, okay, well, she doesn't have anything else like appearing, so I could leave. She goes, but I'm also a mom too, and I know that I would want answers as well. So then she recommended that we go see the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia doctor there, and Veronica was seen when I think this was now about 2016. She was seen, and the doctor there took some X-rays. And then he said, depending how the X-rays came back, he said of her forehead, her wrists, and her knees, that he would then tell us how we're going to proceed. When he called me back, he said that he was concerned because again, it showed the same thing that the radiologist had seen, that her bones looked almost like they had been shaded in with chalk, and that was very abnormal. So he said that he now wanted to do a bone age X-ray, which is like a complete X-ray from every single bone in the body. And when we got those results back, again, it looked, when he showed it to me, it looked like someone had taken chalk and shaded in most parts of Veronica's uh her X-ray. And he said at that point,
Wow.
said he had an idea of what could be causing it, and he said he wanted us to do see a metabolic doctor to do genetic testing to see what it is, if he could pinpoint what was causing this for Veronica to have not only the pain but um, just the abnormalities in her bones. And we saw the metabolic doctor. She did genetic testing, which she said would take, since it was very extensive, 6 to 8 weeks. Then I remember it was March. I was extremely, extremely nervous, 2017. And she called us back and she said, well, we did find that your daughter has something called uh, Autosomal Dominant Osteopetrosis type 2. And she said, well, this can cause her to have different things, like just her bones very fragile, prone of fractures. Her bones, I mean, her joints can dislocate easily, and like some issues with hearing and with vision. But we really want you to see a hematologist. It's very important you go see a hematologist. And in my mind, I said, why? It's just a bone.
Right.
And she kind of left it as is. And I remember they got us in pretty quick, so that made me, I think, maybe like within like the next week, they already, even though this is a very busy doctor because he's a hematologist and oncologist in Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, they got us in pretty quickly. And I remember when I was there, he told us that the reason we were there is because not only could this bone condition cause all of those things, but it could cause her also to have bone marrow failure. And I remember being hit by like a truck. I felt like the breath had been knocked out of me. I couldn't, my whole time, even when the metabolic doctor told me what she was diagnosed with, in my mind, I'm like, they're just gonna give her medication and she's gonna be okay. She's gonna, something
Right.
would be done. I never imagined that it would require, the only cure would be a bone marrow transplant.
Transplant.
He did say that the younger that she was, the more successful transplant would be, because just in general, someone with her disease, it's very difficult. And we also got this information because going down the line, because we actually ended up going to see, there's only one doctor in the US that does on this disease because it's so rare, in Minnesota. And he also echoed what this doctor said, that the younger she is, the more successful, because as they get older, their bones remodel more rapidly, and that's when they're more prone to fracture. And someone with this disease, uh, it's not as, because their bones are so hard, and it hollows out the marrow. So even if they were to get a transplant, it's very difficult for them, because he said that's like trying to grow flowers or something in like soil that's all rocky and messed up. You're then
Wow.
cells, give them to this patient who has osteopetrosis, and it's hard a lot of times for the cells to adhere and proliferate and do what they need to do. So he said it was a very high mortality rate when, even when they do a transplant. So he said that's why it was very important to find a match that was the closest that we could find, but now also that the earlier the better should she need one. And so we've been searching for, it's going to be 6 years in November. I
Wow.
was first diagnosed. That was March. They had done HLA type on her to see if anybody on the registry matched her at that time. Nobody matched her. And so my husband, they then tested him because we actually ended up finding out that I'm the one who carried this mutation. So that ruled me out. Unfortunately, also 70% of the time, a sibling is able to donate. We found out my youngest daughter, she carries this mutation, but she's asymptomatic. So that ruled her. The only in our was my husband, and unfortunately, he only came up as a 6 out of 10 match for Veronica, which wouldn't make him eligible to. So then that's when we started doing drives in hopes that we would find something for Veronica, hoping that we could get the word out. And I never imagined that we would be here almost 6 years later and Veronica not having a match. And it breaks
Right.
because I not only see this for myself, but I see so many other families searching, so many others like, and I really wish that people knew. Just a lot of people, even for register, they don't know. It's as simple as just answering some questions that maybe take you max 5 minutes on your phone, and it asks you questions like your birthday, like what your ethnicity is, your background, to get the closest match, and just if you have any like health problems, because they need to make sure too that you're healthy enough to be able to donate to.
Right. So, Elise, before we get into all of that, because I want to make sure that we honor all that, but that we are able to answer some questions about the first things. And we're having some technical difficulties. So, when I stop talking, there's a little lag there. And I want to make sure that everything you say is heard because it's so important, right? So, what I want people to take away from this is number one, Veronica needed this match 6 years ago, right? As I've shared my story as well, there is not a large presence of Hispanics within that registry, people of mixed origins. Mom and dad are both Hispanic from different countries, right? Am I correct? Yeah, so that there's a diversity within her as well. So when we're talking about those mixed ethnicities, it's less than 29% that you're going to find that match on there if you have mixed origins, right? She needed her match. And as I've said time and time again, and it's not only for cancer, there are over 70 diseases and disorders that are treated with a bone marrow transplant. So even though it's not imminent, and you may not hear the C word, cancer, when you're talking about somebody who needs a transplant, it doesn't mean that they don't need one right away and that you should not do something now, because it doesn't mean not right now, but in the future. And time is running out. They've had several drives throughout these 6 years. Elise has been on other podcasts. She's been out there talking about this. We need your help. We need you to get out there so that we can find a match. As you've heard, your best possible match is a sibling, right? Who shares the same mother and father. And my two children were not matches for Isabella at a higher level, just like her little sister was not. So we know how that feels, right? That there's nobody within the family. My husband and I were half matches, so 5 out of 10 for Isabella, right? 6 out of 10. When we talk about those numbers, what do those numbers mean, right? So the HLA is a protein that's on our cells. There's a mother cell, the stem cells, that are the ones that create all the other cells within our bodies, right? So there's protein markers on those, and you want to match at the highest level. So that why? So that you don't reject the transplant. What happens to you when you're getting ready for a transplant is that they get rid of your own marrow, your own immune system, your own cells, and replace them with the person who's donating, right? So they're actually getting a clean field there. So you need the best possible match so that you don't reject it and so that you can become healthy. So a lot of important things that she's mentioning here that I want people to understand, and why we are searching and why it's so important that if you are between the ages of 18 and 40 and you're hearing this message, or you know someone, a lot of people approach us and they're 41. right? And they're like, why can't I join the registry? It's not that we're discriminating, it's that we have found that the best possible outcome for the patient receiving that transplant comes when the donor is younger. So if you're not of that age, how can you help? Is because you know somebody who is between the ages of 18 and 40, and you can then encourage them to join the registry. Now we're going to continue with the story with Elise, because how simple it is to join this registry. We're talking about questions, right? And then I want you to go into how simple it is to just join the registry and what happens next. Talk about that.
Like I said before, I've gotten a lot of people thinking that they require blood, something to join the registry, and that's not what it is. You actually, Veronica has a code, which is por Veronica. If you text to 61474, or also the link join.bethematch.org/por Veronica, and either of those like would just require you just to answer the simple questions like I had said before. Ask you your date of birth, your ethnicity, your background, because they need to make sure they have the closest match possible for if you do come up as a possible donor for somebody. Ask you a series if you have any like health issues, and then you're able to then if everything comes out okay with those questions, just complete a simple cheek swab, painless, and you're able to put it in and that's how they do the HLA typing, and it's really that simple to register to be able to see if you could be a life-saving match for somebody in need. And there's so many patients like Veronica who have been searching for years and they're unable to find somebody. And it really is important to get the word out there. Like Marilyn said, even if you are unable to help, and we get so many people who want to help, and they're like, oh, we're younger to be able to, but you, if not yourself, you have family, friends that may be able to help. And it's something as simple as that, as joining the registry, but you can make a lifetime of a change in somebody. Like give that person the life that they deserve. Veronica, unfortunately, due to her condition, not only does she get pain, but she's not able to be the little girl that she wants to be. She's not able to do contact sports. She always wanted to do gymnastics as a kid. She can't do that. She can't rollerblade. She can't ice skate. Anything, some simple things that kids are able to do because of the fear of fracturing a bone. And not only because of the medical, but because of what she can do. If she were able to find her match, that person could hold her cure and then be able to give her the life that I would want to see for her.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I said, and I can't stress enough, time's running out. We have the ability to help. The match is out there. They just haven't joined yet. As I shared with my own journey, Isabella did find her match, right? And she had her transplant, and it was a successful transplant. But Mike, her donor, didn't join until that very time that we started our search. So before that, he wasn't part of it. He happened to join at the same time that we started our search because his employer was having a drive, and he was joining for another little girl with leukemia who was the daughter of a coworker, right? So it wasn't for us. He knew nothing about us, right? And that's sometimes how God works. We're searching here, we're starting our search here. Here's Mike joining the registry. He wasn't there. He was there then when we needed them. And I know this, Veronica's match is out there. Could it be you? Join the registry and let's find that out. Let's help her. And if not Veronica, you may be the match for somebody else out there who is hoping and praying that somebody joins that registry to save their lives. Now, let's continue that. What happens if you're found to be the match? What are the next steps?
You would then be called and told. They don't tell you a lot about the patient. They may tell you just age and what the person or the child has. And then you have the decision then to say yes or no. But of course, you need to keep in mind that you may be that only person's hope, that only child's hope. So if they're calling you, it's very important to stay committed to saving a life, right? We want it. If you register, to keep in mind, you may not only, like Miss Morales said, you may not at a drive, you're not only registering to help Veronica, you're registering if you come up as a match for somebody else. And we ask you to please stay committed. So if you were to come up as a match, it's just like giving, a lot of people don't know this, just like giving blood. It's a peripheral blood stem cell transplant. And they take a component of the blood that they need, and then the rest of it goes back. And it's just like giving blood. It's just a longer process, and you're able to go home the same day. But just the thought that just doing this, you could help give somebody another chance of life or cure somebody in need, is just, that in itself, it that feeling, it could be not only for yourself but for that family that's receiving that life-saving
Absolutely.
match as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. We prayed for Mike. We didn't even know who he was. For many years, we didn't know it was a man or a woman or anything about him. But we were so grateful that he said yes and that he went through the entire process very quickly to help us. And when I finally was able to talk to him, and one day he will be on this podcast, when I was finally able to talk to him, he shared that he didn't waver in his decision, that he was a father of two, and he did what he would have wanted someone to do for him, right? And there was no question in his mind that he was going to do that. So once again, God bless you, Mike, for doing that for us. And we are searching for Veronica's match, and I know they're out there. So yeah, a lot of the myths, and we're trying to dispel that. So one of the things that we get when we do drives is that they think that it's still the same way. Many years ago, in order to have the bone marrow transplant, they would go in through your hip bone to extract the marrow that was within that bone, right? The marrow that produces the cells in our bodies it's a spongy material inside the bone. 90% of the cases of transplant are exactly like Elise described. It's like giving blood. Okay, that's that's it, right? It's like giving plasma. So anybody who's donated plasma knows that that's a little bit longer process, right? And then the rest of your cells are given back to you. You may feel a little run down after that, but you'll get to go home. There's no hospital time, nothing like that. 90% of the cases, which is important because it used to not be that way. And most people remember it being that way. And when they hear that, they were like, okay, I think I can do that. Number two is that you're giving life in life. So when you talk about transplant and organ transplant, your bone marrow is an organ, right? And every other organ, for many other organs, someone has to pass away in order for their organs to be transplanted into someone else. So we're losing someone in order for many others to live. And in this case, everybody wins. Okay? You are giving life in life. You lose nothing and gain it all. So keep that in mind when you're talking about this kind of a transplant. So again, let's talk about Veronica, and we know that what things does she enjoy doing? Now we heard a lot about what she doesn't like, right, or what she can't do. She'd like to do but can't do. What types of things does Veronica like to do?
Veronica loves to sing and she loves to act. That's something that I've um, always it, always encouraged her to do, because I always tell her, like, you have a beautiful voice. Yeah, she's like, you're my mom. You're gonna say that, no, but she does have a beautiful voice. She does love to act and to do all of the. I feel that's her, because she is so limited, and then something that, thank God, she loves since little. So it's something that, even though it may have been one of the few things she could do, it's something that she loved and she continues to do. Um, and she was actually in a small um, uh, small I'm so sorry, I'm trying to think. She was actually in a workshop in New York recently, and it was very important of the person who cast her, which she says Angela Massey, who's amazing. She put it was very important for her to find somebody, because not only does Veronica have this condition, she's also visually impaired in one eye and blind in the other. So it's very important for her to find somebody to also raise awareness for the need for I guess divert, more of an accepting, because
Gotcha.
that there's a lot of um diverse and like um acceptance for the deaf community, but so why shouldn't it be the same for those who are visually impaired? So she felt it was extremely important to cast somebody who is visually impaired or blind, and that's we went through a process. But Veronica got, and she loves, and she continues to do singing lessons with Angela, and that even in school, that's always her go-to is chorus and select chorus. She loves to those are the things that she enjoys, as well as art as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, obviously I've met Veronica, and she's such a beautiful little girl, as is her sister. Talk to me about her sister.
Her sister, Annabelle, I truly feel like God gave both of our daughters are such a blessing, but I feel like Annabelle is very she's spunky, she's very out there, she's very and she's there. She will be the number one person during a drive. Sign up to save my sister. Sign up to be the match to help others. She's always, and she may chase people down or get like
I've seen her do it.
to know the importance of joining the match, and she really loves her sister, and I love that from such a young age. Not only does she have like, because I want to help my sister, but she wants to help others as well. So she's always happy to take her. She has be the match water bottle, or be the match her little button that she puts on her backpack, and if people ask her, she actually will say, yeah, well, you register, and you do a swab, and you're able to. So for such a young age, she already knows the process, and she talks about it, and she says she was even talking about to one of her classmates about it, and they looked a little confused, but she's very I love that about her, that she not only wants to help her sister but others as well, and very um just I'm trying to look for the word, um um just this that she has
She's
to
driven.
yes,
She's extremely driven.
yes.
Yeah, listen, she inspired me. I met her at a drive,
Yeah.
right? And she reminded me so much of Gabby, right? That even Gabby turned around and said, "Hey, you trying to take my job?" Because there's so much that outgoing personality, that desire to help not only the people that they love, but everybody else. So very similar personalities, very driven. My daughter's a woman now, and a little girl, but I saw the same personality in Annabelle, and I was like, she is destined for greatness because of, and that's a testament to you and your husband, and the love that you guys all have for one another, and the love that she has for her sister. Love is a powerful motivator, right? And I know that we're going to do what we need to do, and that God will continue to guide us all, right? We are moms on a mission, and we're going to continue to do this until we can't, right? Until we're little viejitas.
Yeah.
uh, but we're going to continue to fight and encourage people and educate people. It is Legacy Incorporated. This is what we're about. This is about helping families just like this, just like ours. Um, we are having our first fundraising gala September 16th. It's on my website. I will again promote it with this. We will be seeing Elise and her family there, God willing, so that we can continue to find Veronica's match. Now, if you guys are hearing our voices, please share. Please share this episode with others and encourage others to join this registry for Veronica. I will be sharing her personalized code in the description of this video and everywhere that I share it. Use that code so that they can track how many people are joining for Veronica, for Veronica. Are there any last words, Elise, that you would like to give to my viewers?
I just would like to thank everybody who has been listening this far, and then to also, uh, for you to take, if you're to take anything from here, just to know that you have the power, or someone else, to save a life. And a lot of people think like they don't have that. What am I put here on earth for? Where, like, a lot of times people have that moment. What
Yeah. What's my purpose?
in life, but we all have our different, like, but something that we can all do, that God gave us. God gave us the ability to regenerate our stem cells, and our something as simple as joining the registry and being able to say that I helped save somebody's life is not only a beautiful thing for you to care for somebody else. And I hope that you make the decision or share this story and other stories to know the importance of what it is to join the registry. So I hope that you make that decision today to join and uh, to share also about the registry, to also encourage others to join as well, because the more diverse of the registry, the more chances there are of matches for not only Veronica but other searching patients as well.
That's right. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking to me and talking to my viewers. Thank you for continuing to spread awareness and being that mom, that warrior mom that you are. All right. God bless. And to my viewers, I will see you next time.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Morales, and I am a recruitment coordinator for Be The Match. My journey with Be The Match actually began when I was only 9 years old. At that point, my 7-month-old baby sister was diagnosed with an extremely rare form of leukemia. Through the Be The Match registry, we were able to find a matching donor for my sister. And although a few months later, we lost her, her cancer was cured. Our family is so thankful for the additional months that we had with my sister. And ever since then, I've made a promise to myself to dedicate my life to helping children just like Isabella and helping families like ours by continuing her legacy. Hence why I now work for Be The Match. I love what I do so much, and I'm able to spread awareness about the huge need for more donors on the registry, especially those of diverse backgrounds. There is currently a huge disparity within the registry for minority patients, and we need your help. It is so simple to save a life and to be put on the registry. You can visit izzy'slegacy.com or text Izzy's Legacy to the number 61474 to start the registration process to be on the Be The Match registry, to hopefully be a life-saving match for a searching patient in need.